Very easy. Like you said, you would just put them in kind of like a encasing like this, I guess, if you were to purchase one and have it at home?
Yep. A little bit more sophisticated at home. You'll have a substrate and a place for them to hide and everything, but very simple, very straightforward.
Because they're not very cuddly. Well, you know, you can't really cuddle them and stuff. They're not like little kittens and stuff, so I can see why people may not want to, you know, have one as a snake, because they're just not as cuddly. Okay. We're going to come back and talk to Josh, and we're going to talk about the other breed here, and we're going to go to Joan right now.
Thanks, Tara. That's great. I don't think I've ever seen Tara look quite that nervous on camera. It was kind of cute. But we're going from snakes, and then we're coming back over to Frank Moher, who a lot of people know from Western Edge Theatre, and he's wearing a different hat today. He's talking to us about Gabriola Co-op Radio. And the call letters, I'm looking at them, are CKGI. And I don't know why that's so difficult, because, you know, CKDA, but GI is for Gabriola Island. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about the inception of the radio station. A lot of people might not know that there's actually a radio station on Gabriola.
Right. This radio station, which isn't really broadcasting yet, but it will be later this year, it's been about 10 years in the making. It's the brainchild of Ken Zakretsky, who some people will know actually started CHLY, Nanaimo's campus radio station, way back in the day, and so this is his second go-round at it, but he's been laboring to get this going for about 10 years, and it was a year and a half ago that the CRTC awarded CKGI the 98.7 spot.
Which is quite coveted, because that's the last spot on the dial.
Right, this is an extremely busy radio world along the Salish Sea, and that was basically the last open spot. Very valuable to secure, and will allow the station to broadcast not only to Gabriola, but much of Nanaimo and down into the other islands through the Salish Sea.
Right, okay, so, and I guess actually over to the Sunshine Coast and that area too. Yeah. It's quite an amazing broadcast area, really. So
yeah, and it will serve Nanaimo too.
Right, of course it will. Yeah. And so you've, how long have you been on board with this society? It's a society.
It's a nonprofit society, as I think most community radio stations are. I've been sort of helping with the conception of it for a number of years. I've gone to CRTC hearings to speak on behalf of it, and as an artist in the community, you know, been a proponent of it as a venue for artists or a vehicle for artists. So I've been helping in that way. But the station received a grant from the Canadian Radio Fund recently to do a training program around spoken word. So I've been hired, because of my theater background and my journalism background, to supervise that program. So we'll be doing some training workshops and also creating some pilot programs for the station that will be heard later this year.
And so you're actually, your title is Director of Spoken Word.
Yes.
So that's quite something
to live up to. But anyway.
That's a great title, something to live up to. So tell me a little bit about that and how you came into that position. You're saying a little bit about your background, but so a lot of people know you from VIU and what's happening up there.
Right, so I teach in the creative writing and journalism program, and I teach script writing and journalism, both. And I've worked in journalism for 30 years, and I've worked in theater for 30 years. So, but the other thing I enjoy about this is I've not worked much in radio. I've been on radio a fair bit doing interviews and stuff, but not actually sort of behind the dial, so to speak. So I'll learn something while I'm helping other people train as well.
Right, so yeah, so you can take a lot of your own experience, and then you're going to be learning some new skills, I guess, as the person behind the microphone. And
yeah, I've reached an age where it's fun to find something new to learn.
Well, you know, you've really made a contribution in a lot of other areas. You've been doing so many different things in the community, so people know your face, and it's a whole different thing to be behind the scenes, as it were, in a certain way. Now they know you, and they probably know your voice as well, I'm sure. So tell me a little bit more about the grant and what kinds of things that you're actually going to be looking for in terms of the community participation.
Right, so the Canadian Radio Fund is actually contributed to by private broadcasters, radio broadcasters from right across the country. Some part of their contribution is mandated by their license terms, and in some cases they're making voluntary donations as well. And that money is used, you know, to support training and sort of expansion of community and college radio stations right across the country. I think CHLY has received one at this time as well.
They actually are. Yeah, it's too long for me to even say. It's a great long.
Yeah, but it's fantastic. I mean, it's a really nice nexus of the commercial and the community radio broadcasters. And so that's where the money comes from. And my idea was to train people by actually, eventually, once we get good, creating some pilot programs for CKGI. Because it's been 10 years in the making, it's sort of time for proof of concept.
Right.
So we'll be churning out at least 15 hours of programming by the end of this 8-month period.
Okay, so you're calling for submissions, basically, proposals?
Yeah, actually, for the first time, this is the debut of our call for programming proposals.
Okay.
We will be looking, you know, in the first instance for proposals from people on Gabriola, because we are meant to be Gabriola's radio station, but not strictly. And so we welcome people to come forward with both spoken word and maybe proposals for music programs as well.
Great. Well, so I'm just going to say that people can actually go on to the website.
Yep.
And so the information's at the bottom of the page. It should be on the bottom of the screen right now. And so you can get in touch with Frank and find out more. And then we're going to go back over to Tara and Howie. So Snakes and Ladders, I'm calling it. He's on a ladder. They're looking at snakes. So there you go.
What we're going to do is we're going to go to Joan right now. We're going to continue doing this.
Yes.
And we're going to go to Joan on our main set.
Anna's barely able to even speak over there, I tell you. Her chakras are being cleared. And while that's happening, we're over here with Cassidy Pederson. And she is on a whole different level. She's very dynamic, and she's a student at NDSS. And you're going to be going to Ottawa in the summertime. But before you do that, you're going to be involved in some other things. You're a student, and you're going to be attending the Forum for Young Canadians in Ottawa. That's on the 17th of March. And then you're also going to be a candidate for Model UN in April, and that's at Shawnigan Lake School. So those are two different things that we're going to talk about. So tell me about Model UN, first of all.
Model UN is it's a conference where you go to. You can range from like a couple hundred to the last one I went to had over 800 delegates, and you go in the position of a country on one of the committees of the UN, and you research a set of topics that relate to the committee. Like last time I was on the League of Nations, so it was a historical committee, and we did the Armenian massacres and women's labor policies. And it was
so it's basically something to do with Canada, something that represents your country?
UN. So like my country, and the last one was Norway, and I represented Norway's position on the Armenian massacres in the League of Nations. And that one was at the Hyatt Regency in Vancouver.
So there's a lot of research involved in that.
Yeah, there's like a pre-research, and you have to write a paper.
You have to write a paper. So you've obviously prepared for this. I mean,
yes.
So there was something that you were doing before you actually, got involved in this, and then you were selected from the, so one of 300 delegates, you were saying, and you're going to be going to the Young Canadians. The Forum for Young Canadians.
Yes.
I just have to keep that straight. So got two different things going on here. And so tell me about that and what you're going to be doing there going on March 17th.
Well, I think I might be leaving the day before. I'm not entirely positive. And then
so being there by March 17th would be a good thing.
It's a parliamentary adventure, and I get to do things like there's going to be a cabinet simulation and like an election simulation. We have to have a practice election, and we have the opportunity to have dinner with like MPs and senators, and it's going to be really exciting. Oh,
that's great. So you get a little bit of the experience, and they're actually involved. And you were saying there's 300, and then you have 3 weeks.
There's 3 separate sessions. I'm going in the second session, which is on March 17. There's one a week before and one a week after. Each session has 100 students, so in total it's 300 going.
Right, so it's quite a privilege because this is from
really
all across
exciting.
Canada that you're invited to come. So tell me a little bit about why you got involved and how you got involved in this, because you were saying that one of the other students that or your friend got you the application, but they must have known that you were interested already.
Well, this friend of mine, we go to Model United Nations together, so he knows that I'm interested in this kind of stuff, and he knew he was applying. So he got me an application too from Student Council, and we applied together, and we both got in.
That's great. So now, as far as people that are coming up and they're maybe not teenagers yet and they're still in school and they're thinking, hey, this is kind of a cool thing to do, what kinds of things did you do to prepare? What are the things that were most important for you?
You have to pay attention in school, obviously, and you pay attention to what's going on in the community. And like in your school, like even though if you're not directly involved, to like know people who are involved and like listen to the announcements and just hear about these things. and like be on the ball if you want to apply. Like forum has like a deadline. Everything you do will have a deadline, and you want to meet the deadline and be on the ball.
So you have to have some good writing skills and maybe some good verbal skills.
If you're in, like, my brother's in the 4th grade, he should probably hone his reading and writing skills before he does this kind of thing.
Right. Okay. So you've got all these things that you have as background.
Yeah.
So now, we're just going to be wrapping up now. People can find out more by getting in touch with you.
Yes.
And so you're willing to talk to people about what it is that you're doing if they're interested in the program as well.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, we're really excited to, we're behind you as you go and represent. It's really great to see people your age that are involved on a political level like this. And so we're going to encourage other people to do that as well. Thanks very much for being with me. And we're going to go back and see Anna in case, maybe she's fallen asleep. I don't know. But we're going to see what's happening over there with Anna.